The entire concept of a virus was invented as a convenient excuse when the most famous scientists in history failed to prove their own theories. We are taught to believe that virology is this rock-solid science built on centuries of observing these tiny enemies. But when you actually go back and read the original papers from the founding fathers of this field, you find something completely different. You find a history of failure, assumptions, and logic that was bent until it broke. It starts with Robert Koch, the guy who basically wrote the rules for how to prove a germ causes a disease. These are called Koch's postulates. The rules were simple. You have to find the germ in the sick person, isolate it, grow it in a pure culture, and then use that culture to make a healthy person sick. It sounds reasonable, right? But back in the late 1800s and early 1900s, researchers hit a massive wall. For diseases like measles, smallpox, and rabies, they couldn't satisfy these rules. They couldn't find a bacteria that was causing the problem. Instead of admitting that maybe the germ theory was wrong or that microbes weren't the cause, Koch and his followers did a pivot. In 1909, Koch literally gave a speech where he admitted that they had to infer the existence of these agents. He said that even though they were completely invisible and couldn't be seen with the best microscopes, they had to assume they were there because they needed an explanation for the disease. The virus wasn't discovered. It was imagined as a placeholder to keep the germ theory alive. This is where the idea of the filterable virus came from. Researchers like Dmitry Ivanovsky and Martinus Bayerink were trying to find the cause of tobacco mosaic disease in plants. They couldn't find a bacteria, so they took the juice from crushed, diseased leaves and pushed it through a filter with pores so small that bacteria couldn't get through. When they injected this filtered juice into healthy plants and the plants got sick, they claimed this proved there was a tiny, invisible virus in the fluid. But look at how they actually did the experiment. They didn't just mist the plants, they had to damage them. They were injecting toxic sludge directly into the plant tissue. Bayerink even admitted that the disease he created in the lab didn't look the same as the disease in nature. He also noted that the formalin he used to clean his syringes was extremely toxic to the plants. So, you are injecting a plant with toxic chemicals and crushed debris, wounding it in the process. And when the plant develops spots and dies, you blame an invisible virus instead of the fact that you just poisoned and stabbed the plant. It gets worse when you look at the first virus found in animals, which was foot and mouth disease. Friedrich Loeffler was under huge political pressure to find a vaccine. He couldn't see an agent or grow one, so he decided to prove it existed by taking lymph from sick cows and rubbing it into the lips of healthy calves. But he didn't just rub it on. He had to scarify the lips first. That means he was cutting, scratching, or burning the mucous membranes of these animals and then rubbing dirty biological material into the open wounds. Even with this brutal method, the results were all over the place. He tried to infect guinea pigs, rabbits, dogs, cats, and rats, and it failed almost every single time. Even with the cows, it was inconsistent. And here is the smoking gun. They never performed proper controls. They never took the fluids from a healthy cow, filtered them, and then rubbed them into the bleeding, scraped-up lips of another cow to see if the trauma and the biological debris were the real cause of the inflammation. They just assumed that if the animal got sick, it was the virus. If the animal didn't get sick, they made excuses. Loeffler concluded that the agent was just too small to see, conveniently bypassing the need for actual proof. The reality is that the filterable virus was nothing more than a concept created by bacteriologists who had hit a dead end. They couldn't find the bacteria, they couldn't satisfy the scientific standards of the day, so they invented a ghost story. They created artificial diseases in labs using unnatural, traumatic methods, and then blamed an invisible scapegoat to explain the results. It wasn't a discovery, it was an excuse.